Good morning, guys. Thank you for checking back in with another TDH upload. Today's video is going to be picking up kind of where we left off in the last upload, kind of, diving back into the S13. I want to bring you guys up to speed with everything that I've been doing. I've talked about how I went ahead and sanded the car down, put it in self-etching primer. The last upload you guys saw me getting everything together for the rear subframe. I have that assembled and that's back in the car. So let me just show you, as you guys saw in that little video or that little montage in the beginning there. We've got the car in the garage. Everything is all sanded down and primer here, looking much better. You can see all the streaks and stuff. It's nothing crazy. It's just temporary. It's protecting the actual car itself from the elements of Florida. So with that being said, there's going to be a couple things on our agenda. You guys saw the diff laying around there. We're going to get that guy welded up today and get that one out of the way. We're going to start messing with the bay a little bit more. I'm not going to dive into doing tubs and all that good stuff just yet. I just want to go ahead and start prepping it so that way we can lay down our high build Pour 15 primer. Picked up this guy here. I think I showed you guys this a couple uploads ago. We are starting to get to that point where it's going to get a little awkward, where things need to be in paint for me to go ahead and move forward. Installing the brakes, brake lines, clutch master, all that good stuff. I need to go ahead and paint the bay. That way I can start assembling that. And as far as the CA goes, we got a couple things to do to her. I have some AN fittings. These are getting welded in on the oil pan there. These are for the head sump. Let me just show you on the back side. So you guys can see here, these are my two head sumps that are in the back of the head. They're taped up for obvious reasons there, so no debris and stuff gets inside the head. But what they're doing, or what their job is going to be, there's going to be two lines that come off back here, and they're going to go down to the oil pan. Now a lot of people think oil will be flowing through them, and I'm sure a little bit will be passing through, but the whole entire reason that you do this modification to the CA is so that the pressure that builds up in the back of the head here doesn't cause any oil pooling issues. The CA itself sits on like a 15 to 18 degree slant, and for some reason Nissan engineered it so that the oil drain backs only drain back through the exhaust side. The oil likes to pool up back here, and then if you have any weak points like your half moons, valve cover seals, and if you have your PVC routed to a catch can, it likes to just take that oil and push it out any way that it can. So your catch can will get super full super quickly, while you're railing on limiter or just high RPMs, in drift, really working that power band. For some reason, just the oil loves to pool up there. So this modification relieves that from happening in the CA, and it allows me to obviously stay on track a little bit longer, not having to check and empty my catch can as often, and just gives you that peace of mind when it comes to the CA. So we've got that to knock out, we've got the diff to weld, and we've got the bay to start cleaning up and lightly sanding with some 220, 320, and then 400, prepping for our high build Pour 15 primer. So that is on the agenda, guys. Let me shut up because I have a bad habit of talking and boring you guys, and let's get to work. Alrighty guys, we are going to start with welding this diff. This won't take very long. It's pretty simple process. I've already got the welder all set up, power's all ran, everything is good to go. I've cleaned this guy out with some brake cleaner, let it sit overnight, tried the best I could, hit it with air, all the good stuff. If you guys have been watching the channel, you know that I've welded a couple diffs, and I had the diff welding procedure going on with a bucket of brake cleaner below it, and then it blew up below me. And yeah, so if you guys have been on the channel a while, you've seen that. If you haven't, you need to go back and look. I want to say that was Mike's diff that I was welding for his S13, way back at the doghouse. So yeah, if you guys haven't seen that, go check it out. It's pretty funny. I'll throw that link in the description below. But anyways, this is pretty straightforward. What we're going to be doing is just welding the spider gears all together. There's several videos on this. I'm not really going to explain to you guys how to do it, but I'll be welding there all the way around, then rotating it over and welding the other side. Basically what it's doing is locking the spider gears together and allowing both of these axles to turn at the same time. So instead of a Lincoln locker, we are going to be using the Miller 211. This guy's an awesome machine. I love it to death. I've been using it for work and a ton of other projects here at the house and stuff. So let's jump right into this. there we have it, guys. The diff is all welded up. I didn't go too crazy with it. I know a lot of people like to blob that stuff right in there. I really don't think it's that necessary, as long as you've got that heat turned all the way up a good bit and you know that you're welding right in there in between the two splines of the spider gear itself. So you guys can see that she's pretty well in there. I've never had a diff fail on me, and I don't think that I'll have any issues with this guy. But just for the quick second, guys, I'm going to close up the garage. I'm going to meet up with a buddy of mine for a little surprise for the Dodge, something that we just kind of been talking about, and it's been in the works. So we're gonna go do that real quick. I'll probably just film and do that in a separate video for the Dodge. That way I don't do Dodge and 240 stuff kind of blending together. And yeah, so I'm gonna go do that real quick, clean up, and I'll be right back, so that way we can pull the oil pan off the CA and then get her all squared away and weld in the AN fittings on the oil pan itself. So yep, let me clean up and I'll check in with you guys. We are back at it with the CA. It is the following day. I've got the oil pan pulled off. Here she is laying down here. I've got the pan actually cleaned up, ready to get prepped up to weld here. So I'm going to explain a few things for this. I'm going to be welding my fittings on the exhaust side. Now there's a few reasons why I'm doing it like this. One of them being is that the CA has drain backs on the exhaust side of the head only for the oil, and then you got to account for the crank rotation in the engine. So a really annoying thing that happens with the CA, if I haven't already explained it, is that the oil pulls up in the back of the head, and this will relieve the crankcase pressure that builds up and gets pushed to the head. So when you're in high RPMs and high throttle, all that crankcase pressure that's being pushed up into the head can be relieved back into and equalize the pressure inside of the engine. So one will be welded right here. This is about I'd say 1.5 inches down from the top of the lip. It's supposed to be 35-40 millimeters, and then from that you're supposed to weld another one 35 to 40 millimeters across from it. So that's where I'm going to be putting my two fixtures here. What we're going to be doing is just using a drill, using a normal little punch press, punching the two little holes here where I want these guys, drilling out the holes to the correct size. Going to try to get this lip on the back of the fitting here on the stainless AN fitting. You guys can see that lip there. We're going to get that lip to sit inside the hole. That way we can weld this outside area here. So that is the game plan, guys. I'm going to go ahead and start cleaning up a little bit more, prep to drill these holes, and we'll do some welding. Okay, first things first, what I'm going to be doing here is taking the oil pan and just kind of doing some rough measurements. As I stated right there before, I'm going to do center to center, kind of like almost 2 inches. I'm going to do about 1.5 inches from the center of my oil drain, and then another 1.5 inches from where I want my second AN fitting to go. So these will be the spots here, and I'm just going to try to kind of eyeball it, centered it up on the actual oil drain, and that's just kind of where I'm going with mine. So now that we've got a general location picked out, I can kind of just eyeball it there, center to center, 1.5 inches. Looks good to me. And I also took this hammer here, and in the inside of the pan there'll be like some small ribs. I just tapped those ribs to kind of try to make it a flush area right here. I was worried that if I drilled a hole with that small rib there, I'd have to kind of close up the weld, and this thing might like cattywonk or move, basically distort when I'm welding it. So that was kind of the reason for tapping the ribs out, and now we're just going to go ahead and drill our little hole and get right to it. First, let me find my, oh, there it is, my drill box. Alright, so I'm going to lay this metal, or lay this rag in here, just to kind of try to pick up all of the metal shavings that I'm going to create while drilling this hole. I wish I could drill it from the inside, but I just can't fit my drill in there. Hopefully this will grab some of the shavings. I'm going to brake clean it and clean it afterwards, just trying to be preventative. Right. Beautiful. Set it down in there. Nice and flush. Just the focus there, guys. Alright, now I'm going to clean up the inside of the pan. I'm going to go ahead and wipe out all the metal shavings, just hit some areas with my rag and then some compressed air, and then we will get her cleaned up and fire up the TIG welder and weld this guy shut. Alrighty guys, so tungsten's all sharpened, got my argon hooked up, everything's all good to go. What I'm going to be doing is welding the fittings on the inside. I've cleaned everything up with a wire wheel, went through, wiped it down with acetone, and then went up with everything and sprayed, or excuse me, hit it with some compressed air. So what I'm going to be doing right now is just basically setting this thing up so that way I can lay the fittings in here and tack them, and then we'll weld them all the way through. There we have it, folks. The AN fittings are welded all in. Try to burn myself there, melt my glove. Fittings are in there. They are looking good. Now we will wait for that to cool off, and then I will clean the pan up and get ready to do some painting on that guy once it's all cooled off. And then we got to clean down here because I'm an idiot and I resealed my oil pan to the bottom of the block, even though I knew I had to weld these freaking fittings on. So yeah, I'm not the brightest, but we'll let that cool off, and then we'll tape the bottom of the pan off. Actually, I'll probably just clean everything up and then paint it on the engine block, because that'll just be a lot easier. So yeah, that's the game plan for that, guys. And once that's all said and done, I'll probably just wrap this video up. And when I do get my AN fittings and my lines that will run down from the back of the head to the actual sump or the pan itself, whatever you want to call it, I will make that a part 2 video, or just update you guys on that so you guys can see. So that is about that. I've got a couple other little odds and ends to do, nothing that I really care to film for you guys. All I got to do is cut down that bracket there. Got to shave it down so that way it clears the exhaust manifold. And after that, honestly, it's just kind of jumping to the engine bay and getting the engine bay prepped up, so that way we can get some primer laid down in it and move forward with the car itself. And yeah, once the bay is ready to go, we can honestly test fit the engine and then start mocking up some intercooling piping. I don't know whether I want to do some stainless intercooling piping. I've got a ton of stainless pipe here. I'm just not the best welder at stainless, like the consistency. I can weld it, I have no issues welding it, it's just making it look pretty. So there's that, or doing some aluminum, but I want to test that, like test fit that. I've got to look into what turbo set I'm going to run. I was looking at the HE221 with a 7cm housing, but now I'm actually going to turn my sights to the TD04. I found one with a 0.48 AR exhaust housing, and then like a 0.60 AR intake. So I think that might work pretty well with my 555s. I'm hoping that I can have a relatively quick spool, around 2,800, 3,000 RPM, so that way I can stay in my power band and keep it up while I drift. So there's several things to come for the girl. We've got a ton of stuff to do and actually get the car moving as far as that is concerned. So let me shut up now, and we'll wait for this stuff to dry, and then we'll go from there, guys. CA is looking real nice with a fresh coat of black paint on the pan there. Fittings looking real good. Gonna let this paint dry. Probably lay down another coat of clear, and it will be good to go. Super happy with how those fittings came out. Super happy with the way the truck looks with the new wheels on it. You guys will obviously see that video first before this one. It was gonna be the other way around, but everyone's bothering me for it, so gonna make you guys happy. But yeah, guys, that is a wrap for the CA stuff. Thank you so much for watching. I will be picking up not necessarily where I left off, but picking up on the 240 in the next upload, most likely. Like I said, getting to this bay and getting to this stuff. So, alright, without further ado, I'm gonna wrap this video up. Thank you so much for watching, guys. If you are new to the channel and you're here for the CA stuff, I love them. They'll be on the channel probably for as long as I have one, which is probably forever. And then this car is going to stay on the channel. This truck's going to stay on the channel. So we have a lot of good things going for us here on the channel. So stick around, guys. Hit that subscribe button. I'd really appreciate it. For those of you who are returning subscribers, thank you so much. I appreciate all of you guys checking in, all the support, and I'm really stoked to get everything going with both the truck and the drift car. So, yep, that is it. I will see you guys in the next upload. Later.